Hey everyone, it's Pastor Ryan here for day 10 of our 21-day Easter reading challenge as we read through the Gospel of John in preparation for Easter. Today we're looking at John chapter 10, which is kind of the second half of a story that begins in John 9 where Jesus heals the blind man. But there's some really important sayings in John 10 that help us understand who Jesus is. There's two of his 7 I am statements. He says, I am the good shepherd. Such a critical phrase for understanding who Jesus is. We see this throughout all the Gospels, and here he makes it very explicit. He says, I am the door of the sheep. This is paralleling a statement he'll say in John 14 when he says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. But what I want to focus on is the second half of chapter 10. Here it's Jesus is back in the temple for the Feast of Dedication. Now, you won't read about this one in the Old Testament. Really, what we would call this feast today is the Feast of Hanukkah. It's the feast where they rededicated the temple for 8 days, remembering its desecration in 167 BC. And so the Jews have gathered today. They're focusing on the temple. And again, Jesus is there. So they come up to him and they ask him this question. They say in verse 24, the Jews ask him, how long will you keep us in suspense? If you are the Christ, tell us plainly. And I don't know about you, but oftentimes I like to just read things, okay? I'm a reader, and so I'd rather pick up a book and read about something. But one thing I hear people tell me this often, but I understand it to some degree. They say, I don't want you to tell me, show me. Don't just tell me, show me. Here the the Jews are saying, Jesus, just tell us. Will you confirm that you are the Messiah, the anointed one whom God would send to deliver his people? And he says, listen, you all want me to tell you, but I've been showing you. Look at the works that I do. Okay, the works that I do by healing people, performing signs and wonders, these are not the works of a mere man, but rather someone who has union with God. He does go on to say in John chapter 10, verse 30, this is a critical verse. It couldn't be more clearer. Jesus says, I and the Father are one. I and the Father are one. He's showing that as the Son of God, the Son of Man, his mission is aligned completely with the Father's. Indeed, his very act, all the signs that he does, every teaching that he says, he does in order to point people to the Father. Again, I remember John 14:6. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. And again, this is something that we all need to consider. As we look at the life of Jesus as presented in the Gospels, we see stories, we see accounts of this man that, again, there's no great human parallel because, indeed, they're pointing to someone who is unique, right? This one who had been prophesied about for centuries in the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament that we would call it, as people wait for the one who would be like Moses, who would be a prophet to speak to the people, one who would be the heir of David to come and to not only reinstitute his kingly lineage, but to deliver the people from their bondage, from their captivity, to make Israel independent again, and to lead them as God's holy people. And Jesus does come as the Son of God. He does come as the King, but he reminds us that his kingdom is not of this world. I think we would say that his kingdom is invading this world. It starts in heaven and it comes to earth. And that's not just talking about sometime way in the distant future, but it's actually talking about a reality that happens as people come to know the Lord, as they submit their lives to him, and as they seek to love their neighbor as themselves and love God with all their heart, soul, mind, and strength. So as you read through John 10 today, I want you to consider, how does Jesus show himself to be the Son of God? How does Jesus show himself to be the Son of God? And maybe for us, how do our actions show us to be God's children? Feel free to share a comment in the comments below. Share this video with your friends, and I'll be back to see you tomorrow.